Hey y'all, it's Dorothy from PrepInYourStep.com and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is so exciting because I look forward to filming this and making a post for y'all every year come this time, and it is tips for sorority recruitment. So I've been in your shoes, I've gone through the process, I've even gone through the process on the opposite side of recruitment, and I feel like I have some tips that will help calm your nerves during the process, and I'm so excited to share them with you. And I'm even more excited that this is a collaboration with Meredith or MeredithGraceYT here on YouTube. I'm sure y'all all know her. She is so sweet and has great videos. So we're both sharing our tips for sorority recruitment with y'all because with this kind of subject, the more the merrier, at least that's what we thought. So we thought we'd start by telling y'all a little bit about how recruitment works at our individual schools, since we do go to different schools, and your recruitment process is going to be a little bit different no matter where you go. So if you're coming over from her channel to my channel, hi, I'm Dorothy. Feel free to subscribe. I have been making a lot of videos this summer that I'm really excited for y'all to see, so welcome to my channel and I hope you'll stick around. But I go to Furman University, which is in Greenville, South Carolina, and like her school, Belmont, it's a small, private, liberal arts school. So for us personally, we have deferred recruitment, also known as delayed recruitment. So that means our recruitment process doesn't start until January. So as you're picking out all these cute, fun spring clothes, think about the fact that we were like, how are we going to get to building A to building B in dresses without freezing? Both time frames have their qualms, but I am a KD there, so a Kappa Delta, and I currently serve as our chapter president, and before that I was our vice president of public relations, so I've really taken on a lot of roles in my organization and I love it. Something I did want to explain to y'all is that Greek life is so much more than just the parties and the functions that you have, and while those are fun, you'll be doing a lot of other things as well, and so it is a pretty big time commitment. At Furman, we have 7 different sororities, and like I said, we have delayed recruitment. Our recruitment process is a lot shorter than some of you who may be going off to big SEC schools where you'll have every Panhellenic sorority under the sun. So a lot shorter, but same sort of party ideas. You'll have open houses, you'll have prep, in between that you'll have sisterhood rounds. Those are all different parties you'll be going to, and a lot of y'all have been requesting a what to wear video, and while I would love to do that for y'all, I may be doing a blog post about that. Just give this a thumbs up if that's something y'all actually want to see, because that would take some time, especially since I've never gone through recruitment when it's hot outside. So now let's get into my tips, because I don't want to bore y'all with everything about all of the sororities on my campus, but instead give y'all what you came here for, which is the tips. So I was talking to one of my best friends who is actually the Tri-Delt president at my school, and we were talking about how there's a lot of stress that comes with recruitment and a lot of it's unnecessary. Honestly, I'd heard horror stories from friends at big public universities, and I was kind of nervous going into it, but it just was making new friends, and I really loved the process, which a lot of people don't say, but it is what you make it. And also, I think people idolize kind of the whole Greek life process. You're going to find your home, and you're going to be fitting in automatically, and it's just going to be this perfect life that you'll be living in college, and everything you do will have its ups and downs. So just remember that. There's no such thing as like the perfect house for you. You'll be able to make friends no matter what sorority you join, and even if you choose not to accept a bid, you'll still have made friends throughout the process, which I think is really important, and that's what it's about. It's about building a community on your campus with girls who may be similar to you to start building friends. My first tip for y'all would be to not take things too personally. That can be really hard, especially at my school where it is delayed. I have formed friendships with all of these girls throughout first semester, and they were all in different organizations, so it was nice to have familiar faces in rounds, but if you were to get cut, I feel like it makes things a lot harder to not take them too personally. But this is a system, this is just how it works. It is based on mutual interest, so I can promise you that things will work out just fine. I have friends that may have prepped something else and got another sorority and have been perfectly happy with the experience they've had. So it's not the end of the world if you get cut from a house that you see could have really fit you, because in the long run you'll start to realize that that was the right thing to happen at that time, because the system really does work. My next tip would be to choose your outfits ahead of time. I cannot imagine how stressful it would be to wake up morning of and decide that you need this outfit and you have nothing to wear. So that's kind of the fun part about recruitment, is the excitement ahead of time where you do get to go shopping, perfect excuse, and stock up on some things and some outfits, I can pretty much guarantee that your university will have some sort of photos or guidelines of outfits that are acceptable for each round, and if not photos, then they'll tell you kind of what girls usually wear for each round. So take those to heart. You don't need to stand out with some magnificent designer wardrobe. You can wear something you already own and mix and match different things and you'll look perfectly fine, but more importantly, wear stuff you're comfortable in because you're not going to be fidgety all day, which would make you look kind of nervous. So wear things that are comfortable and go ahead and have them all planned out ahead of time. Next up is to ask questions. Having been on the other side of recruitment for a few years, being the girls who are already in the sorority, we're responsible for trying to get some information out of you, which sounds like an interview, but that's kind of how recruitment is. But we're trying to genuinely get to know you, and you asking questions about our organization shows that you're genuinely interested in what we do. And that's something that we're already passionate about and makes it so easy for us to talk about. So you're guaranteed to not have as many awkward lulls in the conversation if you start asking us questions as well. We want to talk to you like we've known you for years, and that's not the case, obviously. But we do want y'all to be interested in what we're doing on campus and the different things about us. So we don't want every conversation to be like, hey, what's your name? What's your major? Where's your hometown? Because it's a lot deeper than that once you really get into it. I think my biggest tip would have to be yourself, and so that's my next tip. I just want to stress to y'all that you're not picking a sorority based on the type of person you want to be, but instead the person that you already are. So if you really love X sorority because you think the girls are super fun and bubbly and they love to do this and that, and you would like to do that, that's not to say to cut them, obviously, but don't try to mold yourself to fit a sorority that you think would maybe gain you popularity or have you make more friends or just have a cooler experience, because in the long run you're not going to be as happy as you would be if you chose a house based on interests that are already there. So that can be hard, but being yourself is so important. You don't want to look fake, and when you're being yourself you're going to come across as a lot more genuine and interesting. And that's what people want in conversations. These conversations are short, so you do want to make your mark, but you also don't want to just talk about things that you think the sorority is interested in talking about. Instead, talk about stuff that you're passionate about, and I can pretty much guarantee that your interests will align with one of the houses on your campus. Next is to take notes each night. My roommate and I, freshman year, who she's actually this president I was just talking about a minute ago, we took notes each night after we got back to our dorm. And while it's the last thing you want to do when you're exhausted and coming back to your dorm room, it has been so fun to look back on those notes of each round and kind of look through them before giving people like y'all advice on what goes on in each round and kind of your tips for the process. So taking notes will help you to really clear your head, and when you come down to the final decision after prep, it's a great way to kind of weigh the pros and cons of both organizations to see where you were really excited each day and in each round. So that can help when you're stuck in limbo between two organizations, and it's just fun to look back on as well. My next tip is to completely ignore the reputations. So if you've looked on sites like Greek Rank, or maybe there's a forum for your university somewhere that kind of rates the sororities, just get that out of your head. Those are the silliest things I've ever seen, because one, people in the organizations can self-rank, which that is obviously biased. And two, you're basing your feelings on someone else's opinion, and that's obviously not what recruitment is about. So don't look into those sort of things. Build your own idea of what the reputation of each organization is. I promise it'll help make your decision so much easier when you're only factoring in your opinions and not what you've seen on sites like that, because those are just silly and I don't know why they exist, but they do, so just ignore them. Next tip is to be positive. I know a lot of people go into recruitment and they're like, oh, I don't want to do this. And I can't say that that's not the case on our side as well, because we are staying up even later and getting up earlier because we want to give y'all the best experience possible. But y'all coming in with a positive attitude makes it so that we're so much more energetic about the process, and your conversations will be a lot better and the entire process will be a lot more enjoyable. So please don't complain the whole time, because that makes our job so much harder, and it just will make it so much more fun if you're positive. So have a smile, don't be too nervous. All of those tips kind of can be in one, but just be positive. Tip would be to not talk about touchy subjects. So we have an orientation sort of thing before sorority recruitment begins on my campus, and we're told not to talk about 3 B's. So boys, the Bible, and Barack, which means politics. So don't talk about politics, especially right now when all of that is kind of at the forefront of everyone's mind. but you want to be talking about things that are happening within that organization. They're trying to get to know you, so don't talk about those sort of things. Don't talk about other houses. Let's see what else. Don't talk about other people. In all honesty, just don't talk about anything negatively, because if you don't have anything positive to say about it, then more than likely you shouldn't be talking about it at all. So you do want to be passionate about the things you're talking about, and you're not going to be passionate about anything that you're super negative towards. So leave the touchy subjects out of it, and if those do come up and maybe the person you're speaking to in a house brings them up, you can easily switch the conversation to something else. You can both avoid having those awkward conversations that revolve around those B's or touchy subjects. My next recommendation, which I kind of touched on already, would be to trust the system. It is a mutual selection process and it can be nerve-wracking, but in all honesty, for all of my friends, I feel like it really worked out how it was supposed to. And I have a video all about my experience. I'll try to find it and link it below for y'all. But I hated hearing that during recruitment, and I feel bad saying it now because I know that if you've heard that before, you're already rolling your eyes at it. But it really does work out the way it's supposed to. I was so nervous at the beginning and then kind of eased into it. And I was fortunate enough to not get cut from any sororities. The ones we got cut from were the ones we had cut that day. So it made it a lot easier for me, but it also made a lot of sense that the system was working out how it was supposed to, and even if I had been cut from something, there was a reason for that, and it was probably because I wouldn't be as happy in that organization as the organization I'm in now. Okay, final tip. I'm going to be your mom for a second. Get enough sleep and eat enough food. The only time I've ever ended up at Chick-fil-A on a Sunday was during recruitment, and the whole way to Chick-fil-A, my roommate and I, freshman year, were like, oh my gosh, this sounds so good, I'm gonna get this, maybe I'll even get a milkshake, blah blah blah, and then we wind up in the parking lot and we just look at each other and just sink in our seats. So food is really important because otherwise you won't be thinking straight like we obviously weren't, and sleep is also crucial. So especially when you're on that side of recruitment, get enough sleep, because when you're on the other side, you'll be running on empty like I was, especially last time, because it was meeting after meeting after meeting, all to make this experience as positive for y'all as possible. So keep that in mind. Keep in mind that this process, while it is hectic and you can get caught up in the emotions of it, it's supposed to be fun. It's a great way to meet girls on your campus and see where you would build a community best. So try to make the most out of it, and I really hope it goes well for y'all. If you're already in a sorority, leave in the comments below what sorority you're a part of. I love hearing what organizations y'all have called home, I guess. And I would love for y'all to check out my blog and the blog post that will go along with this. And all of my social media is always linked below. And if you like these videos, definitely subscribe, especially if you haven't. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.